Well, good evening, everybody. This is the Ramblings of Larry on his 2009 Ultra Classic. It's November 11th at 5:21. Is it 5:21? 4:21. My clock's off. I was going to say 5:21. I got to be at the church. It's Wednesday night. We're getting shoe boxes ready. I don't know if anybody does that. We're getting shoe boxes ready for to send overseas through the Franklin Graham. I can't think what the program's called, Operation Shoebox. And so we do that every year. My wife takes that really seriously. We probably do 50 boxes ourselves. Man, $5. You fill a box up, you make some kid in a third world country happy. So the topic for today is Happy Veterans Day to all my veterans. I don't know, the only two I know that are veterans, and I consider spouses, military spouses, veterans, is Harley Day Rider. So shout out to you. Thank you, Mr. Harley. I forgot your name, actually. And Robin the lady biker, her husband, I'm not sure if he's still military or not. I don't think he is, but I know they were in Texas at one time, and they're in California now. She just drove to Texas and back. So, but I'm pretty sure they're a military family too. So if you're a military family and you're watching this, whether you're husband, wife, or whoever's in the military and who's not, I consider the spouses and the children, the young children, part of the military too, because they have to move and all that good stuff. So here we are. We're in Lake Park, Georgia. Lake Park, Georgia, and this is US 41. We're just going to make a short little trip today. I got to get back to the church. I haven't rode in a week. Hurricane Ida is on its way up the Gulf, and it's been on and off rain. We've been getting the bands. Praise the Lord for us. Again, as of now, this thing's going straight up, and it's not going other than probably, I think tomorrow we're supposed to get some rain and part of heavy rain and part of Friday heavy rain. But those people, Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Mississippi, right there close to the Gulf, man, they've had some hurricanes. They might not have been big hurricanes, but they've had some hurricanes this year. And I'm not sure if this is going to affect Saddle Tramp or not. If you don't watch Saddle Tramp's channel, I would love to say, hey, I'll put a link right there. But I don't know how to do that. So there's no link right there. And so I don't have the software, I don't think. I don't know. The last hurricane, Zeta or something, a tree fell on his garage. His garage is detached from the house. And so I know he got two motorcycles out. Man, you're doing the speed limit and you're not going fast enough. Where's the cops when you need it? Where's my cop light at? Where's my gun at? Boom! No, I wouldn't do that. Sad news there. I know he got two of the bikes out. He got Tramp out, which is a bike. There was another one I seen a picture of. So hopefully everything's going well for you, Saddle Tramp. And I'm just going to make a short video. I served 23 years, retired E7 Master Sergeant, United States Air Force. I graduated May 25th, 1981, and I was in San Antonio, Texas, Lackland Air Force Base. It's not where I want. No, next street. Yeah, we got a truck stop up here, so we got a lot of trucks around. I was in San Antonio, Texas, Lackland Air Force Base in June 24th, 1981. And I joined, let me just tell you why. I might put a link, I can figure out how to put a link. I got a sermon page too called the Pastor Larry. And I did a thing for veterans on Sunday. But so on that is I didn't join the Air Force for our freedom and all of the good Hahoo stuff. I will tell a funny story there. What we call the recruiter station. We're looking at all these people. Where are they going? The recruiter station for our little town. We had an Air Force. We had many recruiters, but and I want to think his name was Sergeant Smith. I'd have to go back and look at some paperwork. But we had an Air Force recruiter who walked the halls of the high school. And we had Navy. I remember the Navy guy, and I remember the Air Force guy, because I originally signed up in the Navy and swapped to the Air Force. I went down. I was interested in signing up. I wasn't 18 yet. I went down downtown. It was a Raytown, a little town outside of Kansas City, and they had all the recruiters in one building. And they kind of did they had a video of all the services. Now I really didn't know anything about the services, and I was just looking I hated school. I didn't want to go to college. I probably would never make it to college. Wasted a lot of money there. Don't you pull out in front of me. Don't you do it. Okay, thank you. But so on that is, I don't know what that place is. But so on that is they had a video and they showed like the Army jumping out of airplanes and, in the field, shooting guns. I mean, I like the shooting guns part. But running around, sleeping in tents, foxholes, and I didn't see a big difference between them and the Marines. And the Navy, they were showing on the ships, aircraft carriers, swimming, and all this other stuff. And they showed the Air Force, you're kind of on the runway. I mean, you're there, and launching. And of course, it's all about airplanes, even though there's a lot more going on in all the branches of the service than those things. So that's what we always focus on. I always tell people I chose wisely. I joined the Air Force. We went to war, Desert Storm. We were 35 to 4,000 miles away. An airplane then, an F-15 fighter, cost the government just shy of $1 billion. And so, they want to keep those things kind of out of combat. And one of the funny things about like the F-15, because it flies 40 or 50,000 feet ceiling. I mean, it can fly right up to the edge of the atmosphere. And, the AAA during the Iraq War, Desert Storm 1 and 2, AAA can go to like 33,000 feet. I'm not sure, but like I think a SAM could go 36 or something thousand feet. And so we would fly at 38,000 feet. Drop bombs and everything else at 38,000 feet. Most of your Russian aircraft, even though they say they can go that high, and most of the countries, if you don't buy from America, you buy from Russia, pretty much. Sometimes China, but it usually kind of runs with Russia, is their flight controls degraded at that height, at a real high altitude. And so, I mean, launch them up, and they go drop bombs, maybe shoot a couple missiles, come home. The next day, you launch them out, drop bombs, send them up, going out. Now, that's F-15. We have the A-10 Warthog, which I didn't work on, but they're here at Moody, where I'm at. Those guys are down with the Army, flying at 10, 15, 5,000 feet or something. They're flying right around there. They're flying with the buzzards and stuff. So, on that deal is... So yeah, I was the F-15 guy, and I joined the military. I went to San Antonio, Texas first. Of course, 6 weeks there. I spent 8 weeks there because it took me about a week to get into school and a week for them to decide where to put me afterwards. And so, I got that done, and I went to after there. Went to Sheppard Air Force Base for technical school for aircraft maintenance. And then, I was looking for the world, and I had this dream sheet, and I put all these places on and where I wanted to go, and pretty much the United States. I put a couple overseas things. Where'd they send me? Del Rio, Texas. Laughlin Air Force Base, a training base. A lot of civilians, 9-to-5 job. Actually, I wish later in career, you think, man, that was a really good job. And so I did that for 2 years, kind of a disgruntled job. I didn't do anything wrong. I just wasn't happy. It just seems, I don't know. And a lot of people there had a bad attitude. And so from there, I got an assignment. I had about 2 years left, just a hair under 2 years left. I got not married. I got an assignment to Alaska for 4 years. And I'm like, nope, can't send me. I was going to go home. I had my high school sweetheart girlfriend I was going to go back to, and her dad had a appliance business, and I used to work on appliances. So I was going to do that job. I was going to be his business partner. And I got this assignment to Alaska, and we could turn down one assignment. So I turned the assignment down, and another guy that I worked with that was married got an assignment to Okinawa, Japan. And so we both go to turn in our assignment sheets. He's really not keen about going to Okinawa, Japan, at Kadena Air Base. And so the guy looks at him, hey, would you like to go? Because I couldn't go because I'd either had to enlist or extend my time in service. Nope, I'm not doing that. And so he asked another guy, hey, would you like to go to Alaska? Oh, man, I'd love to go to Alaska. Scratched my name off this paper, put his name on, calls Manpower up and says, hey, Tom Jones. I don't remember what the guy's name was now. I do remember Doug. I think it was Doug Hale, because I was in tech school with him. He was in Alaska when I got there 5 years later. And he goes along. I'm going to kind of go the long way here in the middle of my story. So he goes along, and the guy's talking to Manpower, which is at Randolph Air Force Base, back to Texas again. And he says, yeah, we've got to fill that Kadena slot. He says, well, wait a minute. This guy Hauser, he has 18 months. Well, he has 20 months left in the military. He can take that 18-month tour. And I'm like, but I don't want to go to Okinawa. I don't want to do nothing. And so he puts my name on a little green piece of paper and says, you're going to Okinawa. I said, no, I don't want to go there. I want to turn it down. He says, sorry, you can only turn down one assignment. And so I went to Okinawa. On my way there, I guess about 3 or 4 days before I got there. Come on, people. 3 or 4 days before I got there, this is test people's age. The KLM, Korean airliners, was shot down by Russia. And Reagan was the president, and we thought for sure we were going to war. And I landed, kid you not, at Kadena Air Base. Now, I've been in the Air Force for a couple of years. I was what we call the 5 level on aircraft maintenance, but I never worked at F-15. I've worked these little T-37s and T-38s. And when I got there, this chief met me at the airport. Come on! And all the single guys got put in this one unit that was fixing to deploy. I didn't even get a barracks room. I went through. Now, you got to think, I'm a naive little kid. I'm 19 years old, I think. 19, I went in right at 18, 19, maybe getting to 19 and a half, close to 20. 2-striper. Come on, boy. Went to, a 27-hour flight. I went to chem warfare training. This little, tractor trailer, half of a tractor trailer on the ground. You went in there, and they threw in a tear gas, and you had to breathe tear gas. Take your mask off, breathe tear gas there, put the mask back on, and fill your mask. All right, you're qualified there. You feel like you're about to die. They sent us to a hangar. There was no women there. Drop your drawers, and between your drawers, your butt and your arm, they shot you up. Long story short, I still hadn't really slept other than on the airplane. I was changed from blues, you had to fly in blues, to greens. and I was in Okinawa less than 24 hours. And the next thing I know, I'm in Gwangju, Korea, a southern tip of Korea. And we went from there, several of us went from there to Kunsan, excuse me. We went to Kunsan and pulled a kind of an alert facility there. I seen my first aircraft bounce off the runway without wheels. Wheels are up. I seen a person almost get sucked down the intake. I seen a missile fall off. I seen a missile shoot off on the ground. I mean, all this, I'm just like, holy crap. All this stuff going on. It was kind of a real world scenario. And we were there for like 3 or 4 weeks to get back, and you always felt these travel vouchers. And the guy's like, I don't even have you logged into finance yet. I said, buddy, I haven't been paid. Then they paid you with checks. I haven't been paid in like, 3 months. But I lived in a tent. I was living in a tent and being fed by the military. I didn't really need money for anything. And they issued your boots and everything else. And so, I mean, there was no place we could go to spend money. And so I had to finish processing in, then file that travel voucher. So, man, I was all of a sudden kind of a rich airman. And what did I do with my money? What did I do with my money? Bought a Suzuki 650. And that's a story by itself. I owned it 3 months, got stuck in a hailstorm in Kansas, and totaled it. The thing didn't have but about 3,000 miles on it, totaled it. Turned around, bought a Suzuki GS 1000, and rode the heck out of that motorcycle. Until, back up. That's a whole other story. I got those stories of motorcycles messed up. I bought a car and a Honda 350 for Okinawa. But so there we go. I got my bases mixed up there. We're just going to turn around. I got to get back and do something. Man, I got the Kadena single guy. I come back. I was back for a couple of weeks. I did a really good job, working hard, and they step promoted me from A1C to two-striper to E4. It was the E3 to E4. They call them senior airmen. At the very right time, I was eligible to test for E5 staff sergeant. We have to take a proficiency test in our career field, and there's other proficiency tests, professional military test, PFE or something like that they call it. Scored high enough there, got promoted first time. I was like 21 years old and a staff sergeant. Hadn't been in the Air Force that long. And a staff sergeant in charge of a bunch of people. I fell in love. Then I fell in love with the Air Force. I was to the Philippines. I have a remote in the Philippines, all over Korea, Alaska. Lived in Australia twice. Once from being stationed in Kadena, once from being stationed in Alaska. For 6 months at a time as a liaison person for the military and our government. Man, I'm just telling you. So I was there for 5 years, and I think they forgot about me. I was in Hawaii, PACAF headquarters. I was living in Hawaii for 6 months. I mean, I lived all over the place, single guy. I mean, man, it was a great thing. I did have a girlfriend that lived with me, but that's just a whole other story. We probably will never tell a lot of that story. That would be for those, Motorcycle Mama said it the other day, those Patreon, which I don't have a Patreon page. I mean, she was a unique individual, but that's a whole different story. But so moving on, and this chief liked me. He says, man, they're needing help in Alaska. Alaska's standing up a new unit, and you seem to know what you're doing. Bam, here I go back to Alaska. The guy I traded assignments with, him and his wife and kids are in Alaska. And it was a funny thing is, when we were in Del Rio, he outranked me by, I think he come in with a stripe or two. I got there and I outranked him. I was a staff sergeant already. And I think he was still a senior airman, a buck sergeant. There was a time in the 80s, early to mid 80s, that they bottlenecked rank, and they had to get Congress to approve more upper ranks so people could get promoted. But so all that, I was in Alaska for 8 years. Again, I'm single, but I had a living girlfriend. all over the place. Back all those places down south, Philippines, Korea, all over the United States. Helped start what they called the Flying Crew Chief program. The flying maintenance, they would send them a long weekend TDYs, they would send one maintenance guy in a two-seater airplane. F-15's C models, the one I primarily worked on at the beginning with, was a one-seater fighter. One-seater. And so I was on that program, went and got my altitude car, and I got some funny stories, or neat stories, I don't know if they're funny or not. I have about 250-ish hours in the back seat of an F-15, and I got a couple neat stories there, meeting pilots, and, I flew with a 3-star general several times. And so I was there for 8 years. They gave me an assignment. I think I might have talked about this once before. They gave me an assignment to Eglin Air Force Base to run their aircraft, the R&R shop, called it, reclaim and repair shop, and flight controls and stuff. And I said, man, I talked to the chief. I don't want to go where it's hot, muggy, and buggy. Man, I don't want to be down south. I mean, I loved Alaska. I was a hunter. I was an FFL dealer, Federal Firearms License dealer. I bought and sold guns, and hunted, fished all the time. Scuba dived. I've been diving I did that in Okinawa too. I'd been diving all over the Pacific area. And so, okay. He says, man, we're standing up a composite wing at Mountain Home Air Force Base. We need a chief hydraulic and flight control and landing gear person. It's an instructor job, field training. How would you like to do that job? Mountain Home, man, hunting and fishing. I've been there a couple times, hunting, fishing, and so sure, I'll swap. And that starts a whole career in training. I mean, we call it Air Education Training Command again. I spent most of my career in what we call AETC, in training, because Del Rio was an Air Training Command, and then Mountain Home. Then I went to Shepherd, and then Moody is in the Air Training Command, doing one thing or another. So I'm at Mountain Home I'm the chief hydraulic instructor for kind of through the Air Force. Traveled all over the place, qualifying other instructors, teaching new things. Went to McDonnell Douglas, owned F-15s then, now it's Boeing, but went up to St. Louis many times, taught there, taught engineers, taught Israelis, Saudis, Egypt, anybody had an F-15 or thinking about buying one, we taught them, maintenance-wise. And so, yeah, I passed by the same place twice. And so with that in mind, I was there, I was TDY to Florida, Jacksonville, where I met my wife. She was in the Air National Guard. So long story short, we got married. She come to Idaho. She hated it. I almost had to pull a year in Saudi Arabia. And I told you the chief registrar story already. That was the last video, I think. That's how the chief registrar goes there. 4 or so years there. I think I learned a new way home. I'm going to make a left right here. Okay. But I did 4 years in Shepherd. There was a detachment here in Moody that was in trouble. I've been to a lot of units that are either standing up or in trouble, and go there, and they seem to work out. And how that's translated into another job in life, I'm the guy that they always send to churches that are struggling. And I go there, and we see every church I seem to go to, membership grows, money goes, and all the good stuff that goes along with church. I guess I missed my turn up there. So, okay, that's all right. I'll go back this way. So on that deal, I got to, from Shepherd, I went to Moody. I'm here at Moody for 4 years. This assignment was coming up. I'd made Master Sergeant. Getting married slowed my career down a little bit. All of a sudden I was a family man. One thing about being single, you could do what you wanted to do when you wanted to do it. And I worked all the time. And so I got involved with ministry, and so we decided to retire. But I'll tell a story about the job that I was going to get. I had a job. I was going to be the 313th Air Division Commander's personal aide, which would have been a cool job. And I started to do the training, but I was going to be gone pretty much, except for leave, for about 2 years, 2.5 years. Very high stress, very high job, and then you couldn't bring your family with because of the nature of the job and the classification and the top secret clearance you needed for the job. And so, so my wife said it was time to retire. A bunch of other people told me it was time to retire. I was already pastoring 4 little Methodist churches. Got out, went to seminary, and here I am today in Lake Park, Georgia. I loved my Air Force time. Yeah, there was difficult times, but overall, I loved it. And the thing I loved the best, and every military person you talk to, ask them, what do you miss about the military? 99% of it's not the job, it's not dealing with the government, that's for sure. It's the people. The people you work with. Most units, you were a tight unit. It was like the people become family, especially overseas assignments. You become family. The field training assignment, because you were always a detachment on a base. You didn't belong to the base, you were just there. And so you become those people you worked with become your family. And that, I mean, honestly, what I miss, and I guess that's kind of what I like about the church. Man, I go to a church, I'm not there for as a job, even though I'm usually the only staff, or here there's 2 of us on staff. I got a secretary. And I ain't got a clue. She'll look at me like, what am I supposed to be doing today? I don't know. I've been doing ministry for 15 years without a secretary. Answer the phone. Great lady. Sabrina's her name. She's a great lady. And does a lot. She does a lot of good hard work for us. But I'm still having a hard time to realize I got somebody working with me that I can have do some of the other jobs. But so with that is, okay, I'm back home. I want to say goodbye, Saranana, or something like that. I don't know any other languages. I don't know any languages. I can barely speak English. So with that in mind, everybody, you be blessed. And to my military brothers and sisters, regardless of the service you were in, thank you for your sacrifice. For the families, the husbands and the wives that their spouse or their significant other was in the military, you too sacrificed. Thank you for your service. And to the kids that got hauled around from base to base, thank you for your service too. So everybody, I hope you have a wonderful Veterans Day. Think about what your veterans have done for you and your freedom. Thank you. Bye.